Hi, I am Bailey Braund, the writer and director of Gloves Up.
Hi, my name is Raphael and I'm the producer on Gloves Up.
Hi, my name's Charlie. I am the director of photography of the film Gloves Up.
So yeah, I'm Jacob. I am the editor for Gloves Up.
Hi, I'm Zach Roberts and I'm first AD for Gloves Up.
The inspiration, I wasn't really inspired by anything. What happened was I went for lunch with my DOP, Charlie, who sat right there, and we were chatting about possible grad film ideas. He was like, have you got something? What's going to be like your next film? I was like, I haven't really got anything like that's concrete. And then he pitched to me like 4 or 5 ideas, and I was like, yeah, they're cool, you could do something with them. Then he pitched me this one idea, which is Gloves Up. But he said, just one sentence which he said in his interview, what if Ken Loach directed Raging Bull? And that in my head just clicked, and I was like, oh my word, a character-driven boxing film that doesn't really focus on like the fighting, but it focuses on like this character's journey. Instantly I was like sold. I was like, I need to make this film. This is like 100% something I want to do. So that is kind of what inspired me. And then I started watching films, Wasp, Fish Tank, Seconds Out, Warrior, loads of films as kind of bringing this whole kind of ball of inspiration. That kind of, I took little bits and then I brought my own style to it, and yeah.
Everything. I'm joking. The hardest part on pre-production was, I think, just because I feel like I'm new to producing, so I feel like talking to people and getting the quick answer back. Because I feel like me being nervous initially, it's like I just wanted quick replies. But I feel like me doing this whole thing, I got to understand what it means to be a true producer and kind of just be patient with everything. So I think dealing with people was the hardest part of pre-production.
Well, I live with my first AC, George, and we've been good mates for a while, and he's always had a really good understanding of cameras technically, you know, a much better understanding than I have. And we've been chatting for probably about the past 2.5 years of just bits and pieces of how like certain cameras operate and, you know, what's better to shoot on certain things on what. And, you know, he's also just a really good mate. So it was kind of like a no-brainer asking George to be my first. And I went through a bit of a process for my second because I kind of wanted, what I really valued last year was working on a grad film as a second year, and I thought I wanted to present that opportunity to someone else as well. And it was a bit of a struggle because everyone was after second years to be their second ACs. So then I thought of my other housemate, Dan, who's kind of a bit of a Swiss Army man. You know, he can kind of do a bit of everything, a bit of sound, a bit of directing, and he's done camera before on short films in London and other projects and stuff. And I'd worked with him before as well, where he was the DP on a project that we worked on. So it was kind of really handy to have him there always as an option. And then, you know, them being both my housemates, we had that shorthand. You know, we could speak to each other like, you know, like we were friends because we were, but we also knew that we were there to get a job done and we could, you know, get the end product that we did. And I'm really happy in the way that the camera team works because I think all of us knew the end objective, we knew how long we had to get to that objective, and we did it, really, no questions asked.
Yeah, I'd say 100% because it meant like I could input with like what kind of grain would be in the background. So when it came to edit, we wouldn't be stressing about looking back on clips and being like, oh, there's grain in the corner, how are we going to sort that kind of thing? So if I was there putting input in, we could kind of sort that while filming, so it saves us stressing about it later on in the edit, which was pretty decent. So.
Would you say it helped you in post kind of see the film being made and then see how it gets pieced together?
Oh, 100%, because I could also take notes on what scenes I felt were the best for the final edit. And then as on set, I was ditting as well, so I could legit just grab the SD card, run to my computer, shove it all on the computer and the hard drives, and also list what scenes have just been done without someone having to come being like, oh, scene 7's just been done. I know it's scene 7 because I've seen it being recorded and stuff and taken notes. So it really helped benefit me when it came to editing and seeing the film getting filmed and pieced together. So it made my job 10 times easier.
For this project, I think we didn't want to be doing reshoots since we were spending money on location. So just making sure that we get all the scenes shot on the day, and we've got everything that we want, and we're not overrunning by a crazy amount of time, because people are going to be getting tired if we're shooting for like 9-10 hours a day. So
I did, kind of. When I sit and write, I like to have an outline, but at the same time I kind of don't want to be too constrained. So my first draft is sort of a vomit draft, but I try to get as much out as I can so then I can cut stuff. It's not really what you're supposed to do, but that's how I work. But I had a lot of help from, the crew and the whole group and tutors as well, giving me input, and friends and like minds, all giving me kind of input on what worked, what they didn't think worked.
I think my biggest worry was, initially it was the crowdfunder, because I wasn't sure if we were going to raise all the money we needed. And if we didn't raise all the money, then we couldn't do everything. And I think the hardest part was locations-wise, because I feel like when I was trying to do the car parks, not all the car parks were, getting back. So I feel like that was the hardest part. But I feel like we were able to get things done, so that's good.
I think that, I've learnt a lot being on this set. I kind of learnt that I don't know as much as I thought I did. So kind of not coming to terms with that, but being like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Let me really quickly come up with the way that that can get done. So I feel like coming up with solutions on the spot was, it's not a skill that I wouldn't say that I'm rusty in, but it's like, specifically for what we were doing and specifically what was being asked of me, I was like, oh, okay, I need to now really think about something for it to fit the rest of the vision, because everything else was planned out a certain way. So when something came up on set that needed fixing straight away, I was like, right, I need to fix this, but not only do I need to fix it quickly, but I need to fix it to the point where it doesn't look like there's been a problem in the first place. And I hope I've kind of done that.
Is just getting the most amount of footage in the can as possible on the day. It's my job to be firm with people. I think I'm a pretty friendly-faced person, but I think at the end of the day, people are going to appreciate it a lot more if, I'm pushing them to kind of work as hard as they can, because if people are just sat around doing nothing, it does make me quite anxious. So I don't know, it's just a good feeling knowing that things are getting done and that we're sticking to schedule.
There's two, for different reasons. The most exciting scene was the opening scene of the film, where it's in like the fight club and everyone's chanting Roy's name, and I was really nervous that no one was, it was going to be a little bit half-hearted, and because we didn't have like extras, we just had crew and stuff on set, and I was like, hey guys, I just need you to scream and shout and then like chant Roy's name, but kind of follow Tippers' lead. And I was a little bit like, oh no, it's not going to go well. But as soon as I kind of said action in rehearsal and they gave 150%, it was insane. I got goosebumps and I was like, oh my word, this is mental. Like what I've seen in my head's coming out, and it's fabulous. The second scene is scene 9, which is in Dave's flat, and Bob kind of opens up. He plays the character of Dave, and he opens up about kind of his past and his and just kind of where his character's been and where he's kind of going. And I worked a lot with Bob in that. We kind of did a call beforehand. I kind of explained to him what I wanted and what he wanted to do, and we bounced off each other. But then when we were on set, I didn't really have that much input with him. I let him kind of feel what he needed to feel, but I had a little word with him and kind of gave him a few little triggers. And that, I think, is the best performance part in the film, is just seeing Dave, open up a little bit, just a smidge, because you don't see him break down, but you can see the pain in his eyes, and that is like a directing performance. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think production went smoothly, mainly because of me. No, I'm joking. I think production went smoothly because everyone was on job, everyone knew what they needed to do. I feel like within our crew, people didn't just rely on everyone to do their own job. like people were helping each other out. Like not one person, okay, Charlie's doing DOP, that's just Charlie. Everyone was integrated, so I think that helped out really well. And when people needed help, people brought help. So production went really smoothly. Like we had locations, cast came on time, everyone needed to do what they needed to do.
From the very beginning, from this just being a concept to what it is now, we've got kind of always gone, what would it look like if Ken Loach made a boxing film? And that was something that really just kind of been like, I got my brain going, and then I started thinking about the genre of British social realism, and like, there's a lot of stuff you can do in that as well, and it was really exciting. And then when my director Bailey came with me with this music video for Sam Fender's The Spit of You, like it was instant. It was kind of like, that's exactly what I want it to look like. It's exactly what I want it to look like. And without, sitting down and looking like on paper how that was shot, like I've seen the video, I've gone, right, I'm going to try and imitate that and try and do this and try and do that. But without actually looking at like their camera sheet or their log sheet or any of their equipment, I think I've done a pretty good job. Like, I like to think that I've definitely made the film that I wanted to make. Like, it looks exactly how I wanted it to look like. And it's got echoes of a little bit of everything, a little bit of Ken Loach, a little bit of the Spit of You music video, and just kind of my own style on it. I'm very happy with how it turned out.
The most stressful part, I think, maybe is just waiting around for actors to show up. No fault of their own, but it's just like, I have a shooting schedule set out, and maybe changes to what we've laid out on the shooting schedule, whether that's directors or DOP's input, they want to make some changes. I've got to adjust to that. And to be honest, it worked out fine. So yeah, I'm happy with what we did.
Yes, it is the biggest film I've worked on. I normally work on smaller films where I'm it's not a lot of crew. There's normally me, DOP, sound, or it's mostly just me. So coming to this film where there's like 12, 13 plus people on set is quite daunting. I don't come off of it, but I am like incredibly socially awkward. So I get really nervous working with like new people and trying to get what I kind of want out of it. And that was something that I kind of learnt with kind of how I need to be on set. I need to be relaxed and laid back, but at the same time I need to be quite hard hitting. And I haven't had that experience before. So this is a great learning curve for me as a director to kind of go from making these small little films to making a somewhat bigger film, and learning a lot, and it's really helped me kind of grow, I feel.
I'd say it's going pretty decent. There have been parts where, me and Bailey have been stressing loads, but that was probably because me and him were overthinking a lot of stuff. But we've had our difficulties with some scenes where it just hasn't flowed as nicely as we've wanted, or felt a bit awkward in spaces. But apart from that, I'd say it's gone like pretty well. Some scenes have flowed really, really nicely. I personally like the start of the film. The way I've edited that, I just really love, and the way it flows is just amazing. So.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we've always had that. There's been a few like singular shots in the storyboard that me and Bailey have kind of been like, oh yeah, that's really nice framing. The two that come to mind is the shot where our character Dave is sat in his car, and we're filming his back near enough, just over his shoulder, and we see the silhouette of his boxing gloves on his rear view mirror. I've got a soft spot for that because that kind of just sums up the film very nicely in one frame. But also, when Dave is in the gym with Roy, and Roy's in the foreground of the boxing punch bag, and he's punching it, and then Dave's obviously in the background, and he's dealing with, the trauma that comes with everything. That's also a very nice shot, just like aesthetically, it's really good. But if I had to pick a favorite, it would be the boxing gloves, because it just sums up the film very nicely in one frame.
That's a good question, And to be fair, I think I would produce again, even though it's hard and like it does have its difficulties. I think the end goal is always sweet. So I think I would produce again. I think I might go into something different, like cinematography or directing, but I think I'll definitely dip my toe in producing again.
don't think that you know everything. I made a film in the summer, just me and my mates, and I feel like that's very, very good. But I literally did everything on the film, so I didn't have to communicate a vision with anyone. I just had to work with my actors and then just do everything myself. So going from that to this, where I have heads department and they have input and vision and a style, that was a challenge for me to kind of let that control go, but also kind of stay in control. But yeah, don't think that you know everything, because I came in being like, oh, like, you know, I know how I want to do this, I know how this needs to look. And then I came to it and, you know, it doesn't look that good or it doesn't feel that right. So I need to go, okay, that isn't that. Maybe you need to have prepped more, maybe you need to have rehearsed more, maybe you need to just, you know, it's just little things. You kind of learn little things throughout the journey. And for me, like, this has been the best learning experience that I could have had, because it now has taught me so much of what I need to do in my following films to become, you know, like a solid, like, good director.
Well, we had a very like busy morning on Friday, which, you know, we were kept to a schedule. I wanted to keep that schedule, and then there was certain stuff on that day that wasn't going exactly to plan. But then coming back to film in the evening in the car park to do that scene with Bob, who plays Dave, in his car, as soon as we got into the car, everything just kind of fell into place, and everything calmed down. It might be because it was the end of the day and everyone was knackered, but everything just kind of calmed down, everything kind of fell into place really nicely. And I just think the visuals in that scene specifically is some of my favorite in the film, because it's just a very nice moment for not only the crew did we kind of like slow down and take a minute, but it's also the same thing in the actual film. And I think, you know, the audience can share that moment with us without actually being on set. It's like, and we breathe, and it's fun, and it's, yeah, it was just a really nice shoot to be on as well. Plus, we got chips with burger sauce, and chips with burger sauce is a class combination.
I do, yeah. We're in the edit now, and watching it back it's very fulfilling, because I got to see these moments which I knew exactly how I wanted them, and there were a few moments that I didn't really know how I wanted them, so I kind of let them be sculpted by everyone. But there's certain parts of the film where I was like, that's how it needs to be done. Scene 4, the tracking, one take. It's 100% how I envisioned it, how I wanted it, and Charlie was fantastic at executing that. And yeah, overall, I think it is the film that I wanted. There's a sense of style, there's a sense of realism, there's a sense of dramatization, but not too far, which is kind of what I was going for. Not fully realistic docu, but not like the Avengers. Kind of somewhere just more that way. And I think that's what we've created. And yeah, I'm very happy with the film.
Ooh, if I'm being honest, favourite moment probably has to be the laughs we've had on set. It made the days go by quicker, made it less stressful, and just having a good time on set was probably the best moments for me. Because as I said, I'm the editor, so I wasn't really doing much on the set. I was just doing like the behind the scenes stuff. So it was nice just chatting to everyone, obviously meeting the likes of Bob, Sam, etc., the actors. And yeah, just having a good time on set was probably the best thing for me. So
I think my favourite moment was the house scene, so the scene between Roy and his parents, because I feel like, just like personally, that kind of touched me, because of my relationship with my parents, and kind of just to see that kind of dynamic, it was interesting to see, and to kind of see Roy have his resolution at the end, it was sweet.
I wasn't that emotional throughout the whole film. I was kind of like, yeah, it's just another film, and it's just like, you know, it's another film. But at the end of the film, when we were kind of like, it's the last shot, kind of a bit like, ooh, this is the end. But then it was also quite heartwarming to see that everyone was also getting kind of a bit upset that it was over. And for me, it's kind of just creating a kind of environment that everyone can kind of have fun in and create together.
I think personally, my favourite moment was our last day of shooting. Just when we wrapped, it was just it's such a wholesome kind of feeling, and you know, getting a little bit emotional, and you know, as first AD, we want to be out the door by a certain time, but I felt that we were all kind of just lingering on with each other for a little bit more, just because I could sense that we had enjoyed it all so much, and I know I did. Yeah, I'm really passionate about this project, and I'm so happy with what we've done. So.